Hi, everybody, and welcome to Adara Live. Here I am. Hello. And we are so graciously gifted with Wendy Burge. She is a business consultant who works with her intuition. She has approached her business with a feminine standpoint, which we're going to talk about today. She's brilliant. I have worked with her in the past to help with my programs and offers. And Wendy, I just want to thank you so much for bringing your Radiant Edge Consulting to the Adara Live show so we could talk a bit about sacred commerce.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Adair. I'm so happy to be here. My favorite topic.
It truly is. You were born for this.com.
I
Okay.
am. I
So
truly am.
tell us a little bit about how where we are in this point in time is going to not be business as usual.
Okay, so if we were to look at saying what not to do or what not to wear anymore, I would say take the pants off and get back into your skirts. It's time to bring in more of a feminine approach. We've seen it slowly happening thanks to social media, thanks to the internet, where we can connect more. So relationship is the key to business now. It's the connection point for all of us. And a long time ago, we used to not make that wasn't the point. It was like pushing and drive and force and momentum and convincing and prodding and provoking people to actually have to take action. And the flip now is going to be with businesses that we need to be actually engaging with people where there's more humanness to it. So there's more emotional intelligence, that more of the conversation is, this is what I want for you. So it's less about us individually or yes as a business gaining from that relationship, but more about putting the power back onto the collaboration of support and bringing the client or the patient or prospect or whomever you're working with into a place of complete empowerment. So that is a huge difference between what we used to do and how we can do it now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or there's been like women like us who have always kind of been doing that, or that's been our
yeah,
goal and the whole reason why we wanted to get in business. But now, do you feel like there's this a bigger awakening taking place? Like this is it.
huge, huge. Well, and this is it. And this is where I've been speaking this way about business since 2000 for at least 20 years. I used to do a lot of speaking, different conferences and stuff, and I really was the odd woman out
Mm-hmm.
because I said we need I'm in the people business. Why are we trying to do stats and numbers and I get that, but you can't have them without the people. And if you're not loving on your people, who gives a crap about numbers? They're not, it's all you're doing is pushing. So what I see is this whole thing has shifted, and especially I'd say the last 5 to 7 years, I started hearing things drop in. And then especially the last 3 to 5 years, now I see more and more and more people using the words intuitive and spiritual and energetics and alignment in the idea of using business for marketing and models. And I was like, that was never there.
Mm-hmm.
That was never there. So we're looking less as a driving force behind business and more of a fluid, collaborative force.
Mm-hmm.
So the collaboration either operates between you and the client, you and your team, you and your divine self. Those are the three relationships that are now emerging. And the collaboration is then what, you and I have done mastermind groups. We understand what the two brain concept is in a mastermind. That's basically what we're experiencing now.
Mm-hmm.
We're all conduits bringing the information out to help empower and create what we are calling the sacred commerce, which is the improvement of quality of life for those who work with us.
So I think all three of those relationships definitely need work, especially your relationship with the divine. That is, I think, what the light leaders
Yeah.
I coach need to really hold is that this is the time
Yeah.
that our wisdom needs to sort of speak and shine to help other people through that piece of it. Because how are you going to make any change if you don't have a good relationship with your own divinity and your own self?
Well, exactly. And I don't know about, I know a lot of light leaders. I mean, that's who is usually attracted to me because of my language, of how I speak about business. It has a softer tone. It's more aligned with spiritual principles and concepts. And it's funny because a lot of us have been sitting here waiting for like years, decades, most of our lifetime, because we never fit in the box before. Most of the things that are out there that we know are going to actually be able to help transition the world after all of this disruption and uncertainty are the people who are the light workers who can hold the space of healing. And healing can come in so many different forms. And that is, for me, I'm like, oh, it's my turn to step up now. I've waited like 50 plus years now to finally come do this work. And it's like, all of a sudden, the anxiety, I used to get so anxious when I worked because I was like, these concepts aren't going to land. What I'm trying to get them to do, they're so into the heavy masculine of doing that what I'm asking people to do sometimes is slow back, like slow up and pull back. And let's, what do you want to be doing? Like, what do you want to express?
Yeah.
Who are you being in this state?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was a really, people used to think that was like, oh, that's a Tony Robbins concept, or I'm going to be like this powerhouse. And it has nothing to do with power from an external validation. It has to do with power sourcing from internal. And how are we showing forward? And are we taking the discipline each day to keep connecting to our higher sources? Because we really are becoming a conduit of sending information forward. And a lot of us light workers, we're actually activating information that has been embedded in us, that we brought forward into this lifetime. And so it's a matter of us calling it out. Like, it's just, oh, it's a remembering. Oh, I don't know why I know how to do this, but it's really easy for me to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So
people,
it's a,
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just going to say where people get really caught up and hung up, and I bring this up a lot, is around the financing piece. Like, they know that this certain level of hustle and push and masculine energy and drive has been what in the past has circulated the flow of cash flow, right?
Yeah.
And we're saying actually there's been this interruption. This is no longer the way it's going to work. And what we're going to need to do, like you were just talking around manifesting being a real feminine approach,
Mm-hmm.
but really it's the sitting back and allowing and receiving and being that actually not only brings cash flow, but a sense of fulfillment.
So let me tell you how it works now, because I think this is where people are going to go, well, what we still need cash flow, and we still need to know how to make the money. So I think for a lot of us, we only thought that if we were doing something for somebody else, the culture we've been brought up is that our time exchanged to a value of work was how we got paid. So it was a service, but it also put a lot of us in what I call a servitude model, where we felt like we were indebted to somebody for our time, and then in exchange we would get our money back. So the idea of actually owning your position now, I've been out with you, I've been to your workshops, and you can start talking, all of a sudden people come up to you and go, I need to come work with you. Did you do anything different, or were you just you and yourself? And that's where it comes into this place where we need to start taking ownership over who we are, because in that place it actually radiates out, it ripples out like water. And then everybody's like, well, what happened to the masculine? And I'm not discounting the masculine. For me, the conversation is we need the feminine and the masculine, but they have to look differently now. So in the structure of using masculine tools, the masculine tools are the structures that help us create all the systems in our business, so that when we step into the business to do the work, we're not going, oh my God, now how do I process payments again? How do I send out this email for that kind of stuff? So the structure is now going to be the masculine container, because that's what the masculine is about, building structure.
Yeah.
And I kind of equate it as, well, you got to build the dance floor so that when we drop in to do our work and it's channeled through us, we have a floor to operate on, and we aren't worried in our head going, gosh, now did I send out that new patient or that new client contract, and did they send me the deposit back, and I've already booked them for the, like, we get caught up in all this doing stuff.
No.
So if that stuff is created first, we sit down and consciously say, we need to stop resisting the thing that's actually going to allow us to be more in flow. So imagine, if you will, that the feminine let's start with the masculine is the riverbank. And it just wanders around and it keeps everything kind of going. And the feminine is the flow of the water that goes through the channel.
Right.
If there is no riverbank, the water floods.
Right.
And there's just this no boundaries in business. So the resistance, the biggest challenge is for a lot of us who've resisted business because it felt so structured.
Mm-hmm.
We need to reframe that as why we need it now. And the structure is actually to help us work better. It actually alleviates a lot of stuff out of our way, so that we can just be in our flow. Mm-hmm. And the more we are, and we stay focused on the couple of things that we do well, you energetically start radiating at a different level. Your resonance raises, and guess what? People can see it and feel it, and then they just come to you. They just, it's no joke. People just go, hey, can I pay you for that? And you're like, I didn't even have to ask. And I know I experienced it twice this week just from talking to people. And they're like, hey, can I pay you for that? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
Or if I choose, or else you're like, no, this is a gift. I want to gift this information with you.
Yes. Right. So, okay, it's not tangible, it's not actionable, it doesn't have that, like, you're going to make this much, and this is how you're going to do it, and these are the people you're going to have to call, and these are the prospects, and this is, like, it's not like that.
No, but you're still doing that stuff. It's just that you're
Right.
going to have a different driver behind it. Like, we still have to pick up the phone and call people. We
Right.
still have to do those things.
Right.
The drive is different. Yeah. You know,
Like your vibe is different, like your frequency is raised in the sense of you really owning your being, that, like, the divinity, the collaboration, and the,
yeah. So I'll explain how a typical morning would look. Instead of where we used to write down, like, literally 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, these are all the activities I got to do. We would log in and put all this information in. So if we structure our days differently, we'll be able to actually hear what we need to be doing. So part of this new model is actually taking the intuitive hits that you get in the morning and then building that into your day. So leaving a little bit more space in your calendar through the day instead of, like,
chocolate
yeah, like literally do some blocking so that you get enough time to listen. Like in the morning, like when we just started this video, you did a meditation, and that was beautiful. And that is a great way to start centering your energy and listening and hearing what's going to be next. So in that time, you may get somebody like, oh, you need to call Jan Smith. And you're like, I don't know why. And you've got a new offer. You need, like, it's like you just get told what to do.
Right.
You need to keep the paper next to you, write it down, and do those activities first. It's as if there's this higher divine guidance. And this just over and over and over again. Every time I do it, every time I get my clients doing this, it just moves the needle so much more than anything we could be trying to figure out in our brain. So that's one of the that's one of the new feminine principles about business, is actually using your intuition.
Love it.
Yeah, so there's a handful of them also, but what this really is about for me is not only us learning how to remanage ourselves in this new model, but as well, how do we start communicating this higher value to people? So what I've kind of coined it the confident conversations. I had done this work quite a few years ago with another coach. I'll give her credit for the title, but it was more around sales. But as it's evolved, I see it being something that is really valuable in many, many areas of how we show up in business and how we communicate. And it's a new mindset of how we put more emotional intelligence into the way we operate. And I said to you, knowledge without love is just information. So what do we want to change here? And I think one of the biggest things that we'll see a change in business is that there's not going to need to feel desperate. There's a desperation that I always feel business people have. Like, I don't know how to do this. And it has nothing to do with the how. It's who are we energetically showing up as for people. When you're in that desperate state, it does not work. It's just not an energetic match to what it is you're trying to do. So I think the whole thing's going to be about our awareness and how we're showing up. What are we energetically doing? And this is a tie into the whole idea of the sacred commerce that I brought the book because you and I are talking about it. So it's an awesome little book. That there's a place where we're looking at what they call the fourth sector or society coming in now and saying, we expect more from business. We expect that business has to social responsibility back to our communities, back to our social causes. So there is a real push to have not only profit as a bottom line, but people as a bottom line, as well as planetary causes as a bottom line. So you're going to start seeing a lot more of that. And that is the huge shift, which means we're asking more about emotional intelligence, as well as our responsibility to each other on this planet. So I don't know if you know, but in British Columbia, we're one of the only provinces that have now legislated that we can have C corporations. So a C corporation is a corporation that is actually built at creating sustainable business practices that also track like your carbon footprint, how much volunteering you do. All of this becomes accountable to your shareholders, not just your profits. And there are a lot of businesses who wanted to have a social impact, but there was no way to track that and have that create any value in an asset of their business. And now we have that, especially here, it's called C Corps.
Cool.
So yeah, so just even like Coast Capital Savings, Coast Capital, the credit union, they're a C corporation. So they make money. So it's really good. So you know what businesses, they put money back into communities, back into people projects. So even as a small business, we always know that we like businesses that say, well, I'm going to donate 2% of my funds over to this cause here.
Yes.
So you want to really start engaging with this whole new concept. That's what we're looking at.
Yes.
Is how are we paying it forward?
Yes.
Not just what are we dropping in our pocket.
Agreed.
So money has a whole new meaning for us. It's not about just bigger, better, best, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no bigger, better, best. We can see that structure that we've had for so long, only a select percentage of people actually benefited from it.
Agreed. There is no race. There is no race, people. We are here to be and to be there for each other. And by even taking like the feminine out of business was a really bad call, because you need both energies of balance to equalize, to make anything flourish. Like Mother Nature just doesn't roll out in one capacity. She needs diversity. She needs nutrient. You know what I mean? Like we all need to work together. That's the only way this works.
And it's cyclical. Business has cycles, just like the earth has cycles, just like the planet, like women have, everything has cycles. Children age, businesses have cycles. So when we stop getting off of this timeline that's like this rocket, only one way direction, when we go back in our cycles, we can actually, there are times when businesses need to be quieter so they can kind of restructure, look at what they've done over the year, and then turn around and replant the new seeds. And there are times that businesses will have time to flourish. This idea that it's 100% 365 days a year is just not sustainable.
Right.
And so I want to give everybody the permission to let themselves off the hook to be operating that way.
Yes.
There is a business model called Kaizen, and it's 1% daily movement in the direction of something that you want, where you over a year you're going to get 365% growth just by doing one thing every day. And it's the consistency of looking and not being so structured. We're moving into a time where we need a lot more space so we can flow and we can really be responsive to what people are looking for. And again, that is socially responsible business. What is it that I'm not going to sell you something you don't need. I think that's the thing I hear from women all the time in business. I don't want to sell something somebody doesn't need. And the reason they do business is because they want to put money in their pockets so that they can take care of their kids and their families and their communities and volunteer and put money into social projects. So business has a completely different feeling for a lot of women. And I do know men too. There's a lot of men that are like, this does not work. This other model this top-down leadership model does not work. So they'll scrap that. And then what do we have instead? Well, we have to have something that creates structure and flow. The structure allows us to have the building blocks. The flow allows us to get in and do the fantastic work that we love doing. And then the byproduct is that we're expanding life for all, which is the basic universal principle. More life to all, less to none. We are pushing life forward by bringing good stuff to the marketplace that actually adds value. So
yeah.
We can end there.
Yes, please, because I just need to give kudos to Wendy, because I feel like this is totally what you're a genius at. You know how to create structure and you know how to create flow. So if you're a business owner that wants to incorporate this new sacred commerce approach, which is needed now, I'm telling you, Wendy can totally help with that piece. She understands both sides so beautifully. So I know you have a free gift to give to people around confident conversations, which is the first step to building this type of company, building this this really heart business,
Yeah.
not hard, a heart business
Heart, yes.
that is there
Yes.
for
Yes.
not only your benefit but for the people around you.
Hmm.
There's no reason to win. There is no race to be number one at. Those days, they are gone, and we
Hmm.
need to work together. We all share this planet, and we
Yeah.
all need to feel like we're being loved upon and
Yeah.
and listened to, right? Like,
Totally loved upon. Totally loved upon. Yeah. So I created a gift for people. This language is different for a lot of people. It's different because it's asking us to slow down and be mindful of how we speak to people, shifting the awareness of how we're doing things. So I created a little a little template that actually is the principles of it, so people know what we're talking about. So that's in the bundle. It's called the Confident Conversations Bundle. So they can find it on my website at radiantedgeconsulting.com/gift. And we'll put that in the comments too.
yeah,
But I just want to thank you so much for opening this conversation. It is time. It is time. It is time. It is time.
it was time a long time ago, but what we
Yeah.
got to do is move the people, and there's a lot of people to move. So let's get
Yes.
moving, people. Yes. Okay,
Awesome.
girl. I adore you. We like each other, love each other, and we're here to just see everyone flourish. Everyone have what it is that they truly desire, and it doesn't need to be crazy big. Like, we just need to like calm down and just enjoy the good life, and let
Yeah.
everyone have an opportunity to have that. I think Mother
Yeah.
Nature will support us when we start to support each other, period.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Uh,
Awesome.
all right, girl. I will add all your details below. And
Thank you.
you totally resonated with Wendy said. I think you should definitely be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, girl.
Blessings to you. Bye.